Sometimes we think we have all the time in the world. We work hard, save money, and plan for a future that feels so far away. But what if the future never comes? What if all we have is today? I never asked myself these questions until the night everything changed. For years, my life was the same. Wake up early, go to work, come home tired, sleep, and repeat. I worked hard, always telling myself that one day I would finally enjoy life. But not yet. Not until I had enough money. I wore the same old clothes because buying new ones felt like a waste. I drove an old car that rattled when I hit a bump. Vacations? I skipped them. Eating out? Too expensive. I watched my friends go on trips, buy nice things, and enjoy their lives. I told myself they were being foolish. They weren't. Thinking about the future. Security was more important than fun. I had a plan. Work hard now, live later. It made sense. Until one rainy night, when my whole life nearly ended. The road was wet, and the streetlights reflected off the pavement. I was driving home late from work, exhausted as usual. My mind was on my savings account, my plans, my future. Then, in an instant, bright headlights, a blaring horn, a crash. Everything went black. When I woke up, the world was quiet. My body ached. A dull beeping sound filled the room. I was in a hospital. A doctor stood beside me. His face was calm, but his words hit me like a storm. "You're lucky to be alive." Lucky. My heart pounded. What if I had died? What would have happened to all the money I saved? What was I waiting for? Tears filled my eyes. My whole life I had been saving for a future that almost never came. I had been waiting to live. But for what? Lying in that hospital bed, everything felt different. The plain hospital soup tasted better than any meal I ever had. The sunset outside my window looked more beautiful than I had ever noticed before. For the first time in years, I was awake. Truly awake. I made a promise to myself. No more waiting. No more someday. Life was happening now. I had almost lost it, and I wasn't going to waste another moment. When I finally left the hospital, the air felt fresher. The world looked brighter. I walked into my house, looked around, and felt nothing. The same old routine, the same old walls, the same old life. I didn't want it anymore. I opened my laptop and did something I never thought I would. I booked a trip. A place I had always dreamed of but never allowed myself to visit. A beach town where the ocean stretched for miles, where the sun kissed the waves, where people laughed and lived. For the first time in my life, I packed a bag for something other than work. At the airport, my hands shook. My heart raced. I had never been on a plane before. But as it took off, lifting me into the sky, I felt lighter than ever. The first step onto the warm sand, The first deep breath of salty air. The first sunset over the ocean. It was like I had been blind my whole life and was finally seeing. Tasted fresh seafood. Let the waves touch my feet. Laughed with strangers. I felt something I had never felt before. Freedom. Sitting by the ocean, watching the waves crash against the shore, I whispered to myself, I waited too long. But I won't wait anymore, because the perfect time isn't later, it's now.